So we're going to be doing with Arden Moore, Play It Safe for Your Kitty's Sake. Arden Moore's mission is to bring us the best in pets and their people, known as America's pet health and safety coach. Arden happily wears many collars in the pet world. She is a master certified pet first aid CPR instructor, founder of the Pet First Aid for You, and director of education for Pro Pet Hero. Her veterinarian approved classes reach thousands all over the world and feature pet safety cat Casey and pet safety dog Kona, a pair of shelter alums. She makes learning fun and practical and has drawn students from all over North America, as well as Europe, Central America, New Zealand, and yes, even South Africa. In addition, she is a fear free certified speaker and host of two weekly shows, Oh Behave, on Pet Life Radio and Four Legged Life, a nationally syndicated radio show that also airs on YouTube. The award winning Oh Behave show on Pet Life ranks as the longest continuous pet podcast. Been on the air since 2007. I think that's even before podcast even existed, Arden. On
What?
both shows, Arden interviews championing celebrities, leaders in the pet industry, and ordinary people doing extraordinary things for pets. She has strong typing fingers. This best selling author has written more than 2 dozen cat and dog books. She wrote and published 4 books in the past 2 years: the Cat Behavior Answer Book, the Dog Behavior Answer Book, A Kid's Guide to Cats, A Kid's Guide to Dogs, from Story Publishing. The kid books earned top writing honors in the children's book categories from the Cat Writers Association and the Dog Writers Association of America. She was a columnist and feature writer for Catster magazine and the former editor of Catnip magazine, a national monthly magazine published by Tufts University. Arden shares her home in Dallas, Texas with the furry Brady Bunch, which includes 4 cats and 2 feline adoring dogs. She's been a feline advocate since childhood when her first cat, Corky, happily swam with her in the backyard lake. And everybody, if you want to, you can always find out more at ardenmoore.com. I'm going to hand it over to you, Arden.
Thank you, Stacy. And pause up, everybody. I know this is the last session of the day, but I hope what we're going to learn today is going to maybe help you save your cat's life. Just to introduce, he's napping right now. Don't let this fool you. You are looking at arguably the hardest working pet safety cat in the world. Casey is a certified therapy pet with Love on a Leash, and he has been helping me teach veterinary approved classes in behavior and first aid since I adopted him from the San Diego Humane Society. He was a kitten. He is the first orange tabby I've ever had, and he has a lot of personality, and he's going to help me today. So one thing I want to share with all of you is we are being audited by canines today. In my backyard office, appropriately called Ard's Den, let me tell you, Kona! This is my safety dog, Kona. She is also a therapy pet, and her nickname is Ice Cream Kona. She's just here for canine moral support. Come here, Emma. And also auditing the class is Emma, my Gemma. And we found her at the start of COVID in our neighborhood, no collar, no microchip, full of heartworms. And we call her Emma, my Gemma. So they're just here for moral support. So what I'd like to do today is help you understand a little bit about, we can give our cats the best food to eat. We can give them the coolest toy, best bedding, best litter box. But I think one way to show how much we really love our feline friends is to take some sort of a pet first aid class, whether it's in person, online, interactive, or self-paced. I'm telling you, you can just may save a cat's life. And so here is, again, as you can see in this slide, I don't know how this is working, but I guess you guys can see the slides and see me. I don't know if I can make this smaller myself, but I don't want to mess things up. But anyway, I am so blessed that I have Casey. He does look like a feline George Clooney. Come on, ladies love him and the dudes do too. And just for sort of fun, because we're talking about all this high tech stuff that we could do with our cats, check out this slide. This is one of my favorites because if they could have opposable thumbs, our cats would probably be texting these codes. I don't know which one's your favorite. I know, Stacy, I didn't even think about this, but maybe we can do a poll and say which one is your favorite cat text code. What do you think?
Sure. Folks could just put it in the questions box and we'll do a unofficial poll. Right. So put down which one you like in the questions.
Okay, Casey told me his favorite is SMB. So I don't know. He's kind of a dude. That's what he's doing. So let's get into it. I mean, the reasons that we learn pet first aid, you could save a cat's life. You might save a little money at the veterinary clinic because you are going to be able to know what to do when minutes count on the scene. And you just might extend the life of your pet. But before we ever cover some of the things about how to keep your cat safe, we got to start with our attitude. What's going on in our noodle? Obviously, this is not how we should approach an injured cat. As so many of our previous speakers have pointed out, Pam, Rachel, and Tabitha, you know, cats' smell is so powerful. They smell our emotional state. So one thing that's really important is to know what to say and what not to say and how to approach a cat who's injured, because they just might run out of the room, go under a bed, things like that. I always tell folks, stop, pause, and take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out. This is something a lot of first responders do on the scene. And I do work with a lot of paramedics and EMTs and so forth. This gets you in the present moment. The second thing, you need to protect yourself because you are the most important being to protect when something happens to your cat. If your cat ran out the door and got hit by a car and you ran out and didn't look, you could get hit by a car too. So you have to be very careful. I am a fear-free certified speaker. And so techniques like something's happened to your cat. Don't start apologizing. Don't say, I'm so sorry. Don't get into the baby talk tone. Oh, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. They are reading our emotional state and they don't think we are a very confident human. You need to fake it till you make it. So I always tell my students, you actually have permission to freak out later. So here's what you need to do. You need to be calm. You need to be confident. And you need to be this. You need to be a pet detective. That means you need to say the time out loud whenever anything happens with a cat. So you have it locked in your head. When you say it out loud, it actually does stick more than just looking at your watch. And second, you need to look around. We tell people to do a 360 survey. Look around to protect, to make sure you're not getting into any kind of danger. Listen. Do you hear something that could be a threat? Maybe your cat got injured outdoors, ran in, and there's a coyote still outside. So pay attention. Smell. Maybe your cat has a sweet breath coming out of their mouth. Maybe they got into some antifreeze. So gather things that you can see, hear, smell, and safely touch, and be able to present that in a very calm manner, like a pet detective, to the vet team. And when we have a cat emergency, I am so glad that we do have cell phones that you can put on speaker mode, because you can still be rendering aid to a cat on speaker mode and being able to alert the nearest veterinary clinic that you're en route. They don't want emergency surprises. So maybe there's a poodle in exam room 1 getting a mani-pedi. They know your cat had just got severely burned. They know to be able to triage, prioritize, and be able to get your cat to that exam room pronto, because every minute does count. And I tell people, if I had to say what the definition of pet first aid is, we are that life-saving bridge between the uh-oh and the veterinary clinic. Our role, our job is to render aid on the scene, transport safely, and get the pet to the vet. Let them know you're coming ahead of time. Now, by being a pet detective, some of this was brought up with some of the earlier presenters, but start looking for any subtle changes in how they're eating. Maybe your cat has always had a good appetite, but now you're seeing pieces of kibble on the ground. They may have a broken tooth or something wrong with their mouth. Maybe they're vomiting. Maybe you've added a new cat or a new puppy into the house, and what used to be a serene, calm time to eat has turned into a stressful mealtime mayhem. So pay attention to any of the things that they're doing as far as eating. I will show you this slide. This is the other orange tabby in my house. He is Rusty, the performer. He is a feline foodie. Look at him checking out everything in our refrigerator. And when he came aboard, he was so animated for food that we now have him fed first with his bowl in our down the hallway bathroom on a feeding mat. We close the door with the light on, and then we can calmly, insanely feed all the other pets. We have 2 dogs and 4 cats, and that has prevented a lot of issues. But that could have led to a food fight, which would have required pet first aid. So we also, as been pointed out, we need to pay attention to the check that litter box. There are so many clues in the litter box that there might be some sort of a health issue going on with your cat. I have to say, when Casey was 4 years old, he went into the litter box and he just stood there. And I'm like, "You okay, Casey? What's going on?" And sorry, I've had a cold, so I'm a cough. So it's not a hairball. I'm just getting. So I went to look at the litter box and he went to squat and he went. Now that is not a sound you want to hear from your cat. I looked in the litter box and there was a little dollop of urine and there was red in it, blood. I knew this was a medical emergency. And of course, it happened on a Sunday night. That's when all our cat emergencies happen, right? Right before you go on vacation, holiday weekend. They seem to know when they need help the most. I took that urine sample in one of my dog's poop bags and Casey, and we went that night to an all-night ER hospital. They put Casey on the table. They manipulated his bladder, and a stream of urine came out. This young, healthy, then 4-year-old cat had suffered a urinary blockage. They kept him overnight for test, and I got to take him home the next morning. And I want you to remember, this is what the veterinarian told me. "Arden, I am so glad you decided to take Casey last night to see us and not wait until Monday morning to book an appointment with your regular veterinarian. He had a urinary blockage. He could have died overnight from urine toxicity." So the point she says, which I tell all my students, it is always in a pet situation, it is always better to be a little too soon than a little too late. And if you look at the urethra of a cat or a dog, for some reason in the anatomy, the boys have more turns to come out. I call it the PP pipeline. You see, I use big medical terms. But the point is, because they have more bends, it's kind of like a road rally race, they are more at risk for crystals and stones and blockages in their urinary tract. So I'm a big advocate of twice a year wellness exams with my pets. And if I hadn't paid attention to Casey that night, he could have died of urine toxicity. Are you okay about that, Case? Yeah, I'm here now. I'm doing great. All right. So also, if your cat is, seeming to have a little cry when they're urinating, they could have a urinary UTI, urinary tract infection. Pay attention. Every one of us have had diarrhea or been constipated, but sometimes there could be chronic diarrhea that is a cry in the body for help that needs to be addressed. Always, like a good pet detective, bring the sample and the cat to your veterinary clinic, if you would. All right. So I was telling you that it's important to be in the right emotional state. It's also important to not baby talk and not, apologize. But cats are really big about predictability, and they are really talented at observing our behaviors. So use that to your advantage, as I'm going to show you in some demos with Casey. Casey knows when I towel wrap him, he is going to be put in a carrier, and he's then going to get out of the carrier and he's going to get a treat. Right, Case? Yeah. So why am I doing this now when he's not sick, when he's not injured? Because you want to have spoiler alerts for your pets. You want them to know when the towel is wrapped, they get in a carrier and you practice. Because when they are injured, they know what to expect. And I can tell you that's one of the best things is to practice ahead of time with some of these things, because then when the real deal hits, you might have a cat that's easier to manage because they know what to expect. So this is part of Fear Free. I'm sure you've seen this slide before. Let me go to it. Okay. I think this is a really important, because we don't just take a quick glance at our cat, whether they're sick or injured or just being mellow, but pay attention to all these cues that cats give. They do not bluff. I mean, if you were going to play a game of poker, play it against a cat, because they don't bluff. And so obviously you know these things, but it's always good to hear it from someone else. But look how relaxed that first cat's body is. The whiskers are, the ears are forward, the pupils are nice size, they're soft. The tail is not tense against the body or lashing. It's just a body looking relaxed and mellow, versus the cat that's very agitated. And depending on the level and the cat's background, you get the hiss, you get those flattened ears, you get the really stiff whiskers. You might even have hair raised on the back. The tail is tucked close to the body. The body is kind of crouched to ready to spring loose or to attack. And you might hear that nobody wants to hear. So pay attention, because they don't lie. Now, there's many reasons, has been brought out brilliantly by Pam, Tabitha, and Rachel earlier today, as far as causes of stress. And just to reiterate it, seriously, cats are creatures of habit. So when you make a change in your daily routine, maybe you bought a new couch, maybe you added a new cat tree, maybe you dared to bring a puppy to the house, maybe you got a new job that have you doing a different shift. This can impact a cat's level of stress. Obviously, illness, whether you're a human, a cat, or a dog, it does impact your outlook, your stress. I had a new knee put in June. I have a fake knee. I'm so excited. But for the year before that, I was in so much pain with my knee, bone on bone, and getting steroid shots and pain medicine. It doesn't bring you out the congeniality award, if you know what I mean. Pain has an impact on your mental well-being and your outlook. Your cat, even though they're very stealth and private, they may have an injury. They may have strained a muscle or something, and they're hiding more, and they don't want to show any sign of weakness, because as we all know, cats are both prey and predator, hunters and hunted. And whatever they can do to make sure any possible threat does not see them as weak, they will try to hide an injury. And of course, if you are in a multi-pet household, whether you have cats and dogs or both, there could be some situations where a cat feels like they have to compete for their meal. And if you ever had to eat food really fast and shove it down, any of you that have ever been in the military and you've gone through boot camp, they say, I said eat it now, soldier, I said eat it now. And you gobble it down, and it just, oh my gosh, it just makes you have stomach aches and all kinds of other issues. So pay attention to possible causes of stress that could be impacting your cat. I want to show you a friend of mine. Here we go. And this is something I use when I teach a class because Casey doesn't want to participate in this part. He looks like Casey, doesn't he? Casey, this is your twin. He goes, whatever. All right. As we learn in Fear Free, and I hope all of you go there because it is just a vault of information, and there's articles, there's videos, there's handouts. But when a cat feels threatened, they may do one of four things, and they all start with the letter F. They may fidget. They may freeze, just stand still. They may flee, or they may fight. One time I did this and the teeth popped out. But the point is, fidget, freeze, flee, fight. These are some of the options a cat who feels threatened may employ. So you need to be aware of that. So approaching an injured cat. So here's the fidget, freeze, goodbye, and that. All right. So when we are approaching an injured cat, what you say, and how you approach could be the difference between you really getting injured. I mean, no offense, Casey, but you have, let me show you. Casey has, hi bud, here he goes. He has 5 weapons of mass destruction, teeth and claws. Unlike a dog, he has a flexible spine. And unlike a dog, he can leap the height of a giraffe. Right, Case? Right. He says right. So if you get bit by a cat or scratched deeply, you can get at risk for cat scratch disease because their nails have been walking on the floor. They've been walking in the litter box. And so there's contaminants in their paws that can be into your bloodstream. And I don't know any of us that want to go to a hospital these days, but it's a very serious disease. If you're starting to see red streaks, I hope none of you have ever experienced it, but I'm betting some of you have. It's a serious disease. So what I'd like to do is to show you a quick way to handle an injured cat. Now, it's been brought out that there's a bunch of Pareto towel techniques out there, but this one's a quick one. And Casey, are you ready to do it? He says yes. Okay, obviously when a cat is injured, we are not going to do a kitty De Niro. You looking at me, I'm looking at you. We're never going to do a face-off where we'll be asking for trouble. Just like we teach with dogs, you need to control the cat from the back, okay? So in this demonstration, I'm taking an ordinary towel that I have folded in half with the folded sides toward Casey, and I quickly put it over him. Now you guys are all saying, oh yeah, look at this cat. This cat's not moving. Yeah, predictability. Casey knows what to expect. Casey knows I'm gonna put the towel over him. I'm gonna handle him and put him in a carrier. Now, keys. You want to make sure you block the peripheral vision, the side vision, but give the cat a chance to peek out forward. I'm going to bring this carrier here. All right, I'm going to put it here. Okay. When you throw it over, you want to carefully grab through the towels the cat's elbow. This locks in those weapons in front. So I've grabbed him by the elbow. I also have pushed myself against him to limit his back legs. And in one motion, hat and towel goes into the carrier. Now, if you noticed, I'm a big fan of top loading carriers. It is far easier to drop a cat into a carrier from the top than to try to squeeze them in the smaller front door with their flexible spine. For the cat, Casey and others, they're like, thank you. I now have a hidey hole. You don't see me. Also, sniff, you know what? This towel smells like me. That makes me feel a little calmer. I like that. It's like a security blanket. For you and the vet team, you're very grateful there's a towel between teeth and claws. Now, in Fear Free, we are very big about top loading carriers, and we're also anti handle holding. So we don't want you to grab the handle and carry the cat into the car because it's going to make erratic movements. And what if that handle broke? What is that going to do to FAS, fear, anxiety, and stress in an already agitated, injured cat? Instead, we say, forget you even have a handle and get in the habit of hugging the carrier and making very steady steps to the car. Now, when you place the carrier in your car, I'm going to lure Casey out with some treats. Hey, Case, I got something for you. Ooh, look at that. You see that? Ooh, that looks so good. You want to try it? There it is. Go ahead, buddy. There you go. Come on. Come. There you go. Now, what I just did was I let Casey come out on his own. The late, great Dr. Elizabeth Halloran, she was one of my mentors, and I'm so sad she passed away to cancer. But she taught me, Arden, with cats, you never force, you always negotiate. So with Casey, he's out of the carrier now. I know I can get him easily back up on this table. Casey, come on. I got something for you. Come on up. Up. Casey, up. Come on. Casey, up. Here you go. Come on. Come on. Casey, up. You can do it. Come here. Here you go. Casey, up. There you go. Come on up, Case. He'll come up. All right. When you put the carrier in the car, based on crash tests, safety advisors say this: the safest place to put a pet carrier for a cat or a small dog is in the back floor. So if you can move the front passenger seat up, so put the carrier on the floor between the back end of the front passenger seat and the beginning of the bench of the back seat. So that holds for small dogs and cats. Now, Casey just came up on his own. So he got rewarded, and I made it like no big deal. And that's kind of, you got to fake it till you make it. Because remember, you get to freak out when? Later. All right. So the other thing I want to talk about is giving medicine to cats. I'm just going to talk about some safety things when it comes to liquids and pills. And I noticed that some of our previous speakers have been using the lickables. Oh, he loves these. So check with your veterinarian. But if you need to give your cat medicine in a pill form, if you can crush it and it doesn't ruin the efficacy of the pill, instead of struggling, come here, Casey, come on up. You want a treat? Ooh, look at this, Casey. Come here, come on, Casey. Here we go. Here we go, Casey. It's right here. There you go. I'm gonna let him think about it. Casey, if you can do like a paint strip and sprinkle the treats on and give the pill to your cat. Come here, buddy, it's over here. Go find it. Use your nose, use your nose. There you go. So Casey's enjoying this. You don't want it to be a struggle. If you have more than one pet in your house, which I'm betting you do, I really think you need to keep a medicine time safe for everyone by setting up in advance the bathroom so that you have the treats, you have a nice towel that can be on the counter of the bathtub. And if you have to give a pill, we talked about the C again from the back, that you can put the pill down. But I think this lickable thing is a lot less of a struggle. If you need to give liquids, come here, Casey, I say yum, yuck, yum. Your first syringe should be something you know your cat likes. Tuna water, or maybe bone broth, no salt. That's the yum. The second syringe, pre-prepared, contains the amount of liquid medicine the kitty needs. That's the yuck. And then the third is something you know the cat likes and leaves with a good taste. And again, that would be the tuna or the broth. Now, when you go to give kitties liquids, Again, from the back, the best part is to be on the side of the mouth. You don't want to give through the front because they'll spit it out, but you have it all ready. And this way you don't have any distraction from any other people in the house or any other pets in the house. And you know that they got their medicine. Now, equally important is when you're done giving medicine, especially for cats that might have a chronic condition. So they're going to have to do this all the time. You got to make it like it's no big deal. Make it part of the cat's routine. So when you're done giving the medicine treat, then open the bathroom door. If the cat chooses to fly out, good. Walk out, whatever. You wait a few seconds and then you exit. And don't say anything to them. You're getting into their head and you're making this feel like it's part of their daily routine, because pets really do need medicine as prescribed. Come here, you've been a good boy. Come here, come on over here. There you go. All right, so you want to make sure that you can give them medicine as directed. All right, moving on. Sometimes your cat can get in a fight or they can get scratched and they're bleeding. So in this we're going to do a demonstration with Casey. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I mean, Casey's like, it's pretty delicious getting to do this. Just remember, any cat, any dog in pain can and will bite, especially cats. We are not into scruffing an injured cat. And the reason I say that, if you start scruffing a cat, game on. Their survivability kicks in. You're going to see tail lashing. That's not a doggy friendly wag, side to side, a lash. You're going to see pupils dilate. You're going to see ears flatten, body stiffen, and you're going to hear that sound that you don't want to hear. That's a cat in self-defense attack mode. So go on to the site, fear-free. There's a lot of ways to handle cats safely, but you do not have the upper hand, you think, if you scruff a cat. This is Casey actually in a real class with two gentlemen taking my class, and he is going into the carrier with the quick method I just showed you. Again, as a review, dogs like to please, cats don't. They own the house, they own us, and they don't care about rank. They're very driven by scent and by safety, and they are solitary hunters. So keep in mind, this is a 10-pound cat may be harder to wrangle than a 50-pound dog. They're flexible spine and all this. So get in the habit of just having a fun little game with good treats, wrapping your cat in a towel and putting them in a carrier. And, you know, when the need arises, they already know what to expect. Predictability. All right. This is my little medicine slide. So when I talk about bleeding, I want you to know that cats, like us, can have wounds that are minor, like little capillary, like Casey, come here. If we look into Casey's tip of his ear, you might see these little tiny blood vessels inside his ears. Those are capillaries. If they get scratched, it's a little water and a little pressure, and it's no big deal. Maybe a scab forms. However, the two types of bleeds that do require a veterinary attention involve veins and arteries. So venous bleeding, you know, it's a vein has been impacted because the blood comes out slowly and it's dark. Come here, Casey. Stay with me, buddy. I'm either a fool or a genius for having Casey be my teammate in today's discussion. Come over here. Come over here. Casey, Casey, come back, back, come back. Come here. Come here. Come here. Sit. Touch. Okay. All right. And you guys are going to get some afterwards, I promise. All right. So veins, the blood is dark and the blood is moving slow because it's trying to get back to the heart. The worst kind of bleed for a cat is involving an artery, and it's bright red and it's spurting. If you need one reason why to take a pet first aid class, if you have a cat that has an arterial bleed and you're rushing them to the veterinarian and you don't do anything, they can actually bleed out and die in 5 to 7 minutes. Again, first aid, we're that bridge between the uh-oh and the vet clinic. So I have an acronym, I call it GAP. And maybe this will help you when you have to do something to wrap a wound on a cat. The G stands for gravity. And while Casey's running around, I have another Casey lookalike. Hey, Case, come here. Casey, come here, come on. All right. Casey says, my heart is here, right here. It's between the two front legs. It's under the ribs and under the lungs. And that is where the heart is. Casey, come here. Let me show you. Can I show him with you? Come on, bud. All right, Casey's here. All right, Casey says, all right, arteries. There are carotid arteries along their neck, inside their front elbow. You'll feel a ribbon if you have a kitty close by. Those are the brachial arteries. Casey, embarrassing, but under the tail, above the rectum, is actually an artery. It's called the caudal. So any cats or dogs with bleeding tails, you can actually put pressure on the caudal artery. And the strongest artery is actually inside each hind leg. They were like an upside down L. And this is the femoral artery. So we know the heart is here. So when we talk about gravity, if a cat pulled a nail, snagged from the rug, or had some kind of major injury to the paw pad, and it's bleeding, gravity is your guide. That means the kitty isn't walking anymore, and you're keeping the leg above the heart. Gravity is your guide. The A in GAP stands for arteries. Arteries are your allies. I just showed you where the arteries are on dogs and cats. Why? Because when there is a big bleed, we are not advised by our veterinarians to teach you how to do a tourniquet, because the fear is you might do it wrong and the cat could lose a limb. So what we do teach you is arteries are your allies. So if there's a bleed, if we know the heart is here and there's a big bleed on the back leg, we know there's an artery between the heart and the leg, that is the femoral artery, that we can actually hold for 45 while we're starting to wrap a wound. We don't want to hold on more than 45 seconds, because if you start feeling the paw pad kind of cool to the touch, or you actually see the toes splaying or separating, that is a warning sign that you have choked off the supply to the lower limb. The P in GAP stands for pressure. Pressure is your pal. So we do want to put gauze and pressure on a wound. So to review, G, gravity is your guide. Keep the wound above the heart. A, arteries. Arteries are your allies. Make sure you use an artery and hold it to slow down the blood loss that is located between the heart and the injury. And P, pressure. Pressure is your pal. That is where you're going to use gauze and gauze squares. And I'm laughing because I'm now going to attempt to wrap Casey. So we may be going to Casey's stand-in. Casey, how do you feel? You feel ready to do this? All right. Come here, buddy. Come on. There you go. All right. Come on. You're a good boy. All right. So Casey says, Casey, take a seat. Take a seat, buddy. All right. When you are using gauze, don't be in a hurry. And when you are unwrapping a gauze, think about unwrapping a sleeping bag. See how I'm doing this? And when you wrap around a wound, you want to be as close to the wound as you can. You're not pulling and you're not in a hurry, because every layer is another layer of pressure. Casey, come here. Casey, come on. You want to try it? Come on, bud. All right, bud. Here we go. So in this situation, we may have a towel to block Casey, but we're going to put a first layer on his front leg, and it's bleeding through. We don't freak out. We just put another layer on. This is where pressure is your pal. And you may need to put a third. Then when you start the gauze roll, I'm starting right on the wound, and I'm doing slow revolutions around the wound And any kind of leg wound, you want to definitely go above the wound and then layer and go below the wound to prevent any contaminants from reaching the wound. Now, if you don't have a pair of scissors, I see you, Casey. Casey, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's good. You're a good boy. I simply stretch out excess gauze. You're doing good. Then I bring it up and I try to tie it as close to the wound in a bow, like your shoe, as I can. This does two things. This puts pressure on the wound. I'm going to reward him. Come here, Casey. Come here. Here you go. There. I'm going to take this off you. And it indicates to the vet team where the wound is. Now, Casey just left the building. That's fine, because I want him to want to participate. So I just wanted to give that demonstration about the leg wound. And I hope, in my classes, I go into much more depth. Casey, Kona, what do you think so far?
I think cats are really cool, and I love Kona. I love Casey. He's my buddy.
Yes, he is. He is your buddy. All right. So moving forward, I hope you guys are learning some new things. All right. Let's talk about poisons. And, we talk about dogs. Dogs usually explore. They pop something in their mouth, and then they go, uh-oh. Cats are more like curious with their paws, but they too can get into some poisons. In my classes, we work with veterinarians. I really urge that you have on your phone, on your refrigerator, the toll-free number to the ASPCA Poison Control Hotline and your veterinary clinic. The ASPCA hotline, and there's another poison helpline. There's two out there. They are staffed 24/7 by board-certified veterinary toxicologists. Now, there are some times you may be on that RV ride like that Dr. Rachel was talking about, and your cat got into your pain pill, your pain medicine, and you're far away from a vet, and the cat is not vomiting. So to keep your cat safe, you may need to give them hydrogen peroxide to induce vomiting. Now, I am not a veterinarian. I don't play one on TV, but you need to have a vet on the phone, poison control hotline, your own vet. There's a real rising field in telehealth for veterinary medicine. But the rule that will guide you is that you give 1 teaspoon per 10 pounds of pet of hydrogen peroxide. Yeah, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. So Casey weighs about 13 pounds. Again, from the side, I'm going to give him it. And you need to have it on a space that he's going to hurl. He's going to puke, and you need to take a poop bag or a plastic bag, grab the evidence, and safely transport your pet to the vet. They may instruct you to wait 10 minutes and give a second dose, but follow the instructions of the veterinarian. The reason being is you don't want to do it a third time. By then, the pet should be at the clinic getting all the necessary medications they can have to pump their stomach, clean it out, and be able to monitor their health. Hydrogen peroxide is in a lot of pet first aid kits, including the one of you lucky people won from this is the kit you're going to get. Inside the kit also, I have Arden's little cheat sheet, right, Casey? Which has all little tips on what we're talking about today. But I want you to know, hydrogen peroxide is only safe under a veterinary's guidance to give to induce vomiting when you suspect your pet got into a poison. Please never clean a pet wound with hydrogen peroxide. That's an old wives' tale. And a lot of my ER and critical care veterinarians are on a big campaign to help educate people. You think you poured on the wound and you think that it's bubbling and everything's good. No, that bubbling is that it's destroying healthy tissue around the wound, making the situation worse. If you really think about it, Casey, come here. Here. The skin is the largest organ on a cat's body. So if they have an open wound, you risk causing more problems. All right? So I wanted to let you know about bleeding. I wanted you to know about the use of hydrogen peroxide. I'm going to talk a little bit about some other things. Let me go ahead and show this slide. Avocados, believe it or not, are not poisonous. But unfortunately, some dogs, some cats don't digest that flesh as well, the meaty flesh. And some dogs actually choke from the pit. Believe it or not, macadamia nuts, they can lead to choking and paralysis. I'm just glad I can't afford them. Cats don't do this as much as dogs, but some cats like peanut butter. The problem is we're putting more and more xylitol in products, and that can shut down a liver and cause seizures. I have to tell you, read the label, because some unscrupulous manufacturers are not using xylitol in the listing of ingredients. They are calling it birch sugar. Birch sugar, that sounds really benign. No, it's very deadly. Cats, like your grocery bags, any plastic bags, they like to go into little cubby holes, and you got to be careful because they can suffocate. There was during COVID a number of cases called snack bag suffocation impacting cats and dogs across the country. We like to keep a clean house, but ammonia and bleach, they can cause damage to the mucous membranes, respiratory issues. This is not something you clean a litter box with. Please do not. And then we were all using hand sanitizers for our hands, especially at the heart of COVID. And that again will impact their respiratory system and their mucous membranes. We do not put hand sanitizers on cat and dog paws. A big one, guys, and that is choking, because cats like to chase things. I hate pictures of cats with balls of yarn. I wish we could just zap them out of the system. Because of their barbed tongue, they can have linear choking. And so these are some of the things that a cat can choke on, from a dental floss and sewing thread to kibble. So in my classes, we actually show you how to do the kitty Heimlich. I don't know if Casey's in. You ready for it, Case? All right, let's go. All right. For the little guys, like cats, we have different hand techniques for bigger. Come here, Casey. Come here. Come here. I'm gonna give you a little bit. There you go. All right. On a cat who's choking, you can go down the rib cage, and right there is a soft spot. Put your thumb in, make a fist, and on the exhale, you're going to go in and up 5 exhales in a row, and then sweep the mouth to see if you can get the item out. You can also put the kitty, I'm not going to do this to Casey. Casey, come over here, bud. Between your legs, seated at a chair, and put your open palm on either side of their shoulders. And on the exhale, you're going to push in and down to try to dislodge anything that they have. If they have a linear object, please be careful. If you're trying to remove the dental floss or the cat wand toy and there's any resistance, you stop, because you risk strangling the trachea. Imagine if they had swallowed a needle and thread. Think of what they could be doing, lacerating the insides of the kitty. So please pay attention. But choking's a big deal, and we want to keep our cats safe. The other thing that's a big deal is there are some plants that are great for kitties. We grow catnip in our outdoor garden, but we just had Easter. Lilies will shut down their kidneys faster than anything. So if you have people that have cats or dogs and you want to give them a plant or flower, make sure, check with the poison control hotline to make sure the plant you're giving to a pet household is safe for them. Another big thing are spiders and bees and wasps. The deal is you cannot make a cat sit, stay, and leave it when there's a bee in the house. But if your cat did get stung by a bee, and the cat is like some people who their face is starting to puff up because they're allergic to the venom in the bee, they could go into what is called anaphylactic shock. They start sounding like this. Their throat is closing. So as an interim measure, before taking them to the vet, you can check with your vet invest now in gels that contain antihistamines. And if you notice on this, I actually have a safety pin already taped to the box. So I can puncture it and squeeze it, that diphenhydramine, into the mouth of Casey to keep his throat open en route to the vet. Now, I'm not a vet again, so you need to check with your vet on the amount to give. But when you read the label, everybody, there's only one word that should be on it as an ingredient, and it's diphenhydramine. Do not give them children's Benadryl. Grape cherry flavor, guess what? Contains xylitol, the artificial sweetener. Do not go with pain reducer too. And you read the label and it says diphenhydramine, fine. But then it also says acetaminophen. That is a killer of cats. The one and only ingredient should be hydramine. Now, I want to talk about the weather because I'm laughing because right now in Texas, I'm in Dallas, we're having a very nasty thunderstorm and rain. I have 4 cats and 2 dogs and a spouse, and we do drills where we go to our safe spot in our house, which is our walk-in closet in our master bedroom. And we have the cats put in carriers, the dogs on harnesses. We have the battery operated radio going, and we get our cats and dogs into this fun drill. And it's because we hope we never have to exit fast. But with 4 cats and 2 dogs and good rewards inside that closet, we're making this like part of the routine. But please pay attention. If you live in places with hurricanes or fires, Mother Nature's kind of got an attitude lately. Make sure you have a plan to where you can go safely that will allow you to take your pets, because pets are now part of the family. I'm not leaving any of these guys behind. The last thing I want to do, because I want to open up for questions. Hey, Casey, come here. Can you come here, buddy? I got something for you. Come here. Come here, buddy. Come on. There. You're a good boy. To show that you really love your cat, once a month, you should do a head to tail wellness. You start by checking their eyes. Are the pupils the same size? And is there not an abnormal amount of discharge from the eyes? Is there any scratches? Cats have a third eyelid. Make sure everything looks good. You can take a treat and you can check their neck and their eye movement. Watch. Oh, I think Casey can see quite well. Yeah, good job, Casey. All right. Then you want to look inside the ears, take a sniff. There shouldn't be a lot of wax buildup. There shouldn't be any stinky sock smell. There shouldn't be excess hair. There shouldn't be things that look like dirt in their ears. That could be parasites. The nose can be wet or dry. It shouldn't be cracky or a lot of discharge. You want to open the mouth and pray and take a breath. It shouldn't smell like doggy breath. By age 3, 7 out of 10 dogs and cats have some sort of dental issue. We have so many products now that you can put in their water, finger brushes, and dental treats that can help take off tartar. If a cat has really bad breath, they could have some gum disease, they could have a cracked tooth, but also they could have something in their body that's not doing well, a heart, a lung, a liver, and you're actually smelling the backdraft of an organ in trouble. Definitely check those little nails and make sure there's nothing in between the paws. And he's got really cute pink paws. Make sure the paw pads are in good shape. They're not dry and cracky or been overly groomed and red and raw. Make sure the nails are nice and trim. And, cats are very flexible, but you want to check their level of flexibility because as cats get older, many can develop arthritis. You want to, you're doing great. You're doing great. You want to palpate their chest, stomach, and look at their abdominal area. Make sure there's no masses. Come here, bud. And you want to look at their coat. Is it shedding excessively? Is it got some hot spots on it? Is it oily? Is it dry, flaky? Again, the skin is the largest organ. Check the condition. Check the tail. There's a lot of bones in the tail. Casey doesn't want me to show you this, but check under the hood. Check his butthole. There shouldn't be swollen anal glands. Shouldn't be dried feces, shouldn't be dried urine. There shouldn't be white worms coming out like tapeworms. And just do this once a week. Do a head to tail health check in your bedroom in a cozy spot. Put some jazz music on or something and bond with your cat. You're doing 3 things of benefit. You are connecting with your cat. You may catch something early to be treated quicker at less cost. And you're conditioning your cat that hands are friends, not foes. When Casey goes to see Dr. Deb at Casa Linda, she can't wait to see Casey because he's a good guy at the vet clinic because he's used to being handled. Come here, buddy. You got it. There you go. So anyway, the other thing I want to point out is there's Casey in class. Look at him. He's very relaxed, getting handled by strangers. Finally, as they get older, please invest in wellness exams. Get a comprehensive exam with blood and urine test to catch anything quickly because cats are so stoic. They don't like to tell us when they hurt. I really thank you for taking a little cursory look at pet safety with the help of Casey. And I really encourage you to take a first aid class. I teach it, but there's a lot of good people out there that do it. I really hope you will subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's very easy. It's Arden Moore. And I think that's it. So take it away, Stacy.
Excellent. Fantastic, Arden and Casey. Very nice job, I have to say.
Go when he wanted to go.
Yeah, well, he got lots of compliments out there. I would say that he's looking fine to everybody in the audience. So
Well, I don't
he did a
ever
good
want to
job.
stress him out. So if he
No.
doesn't want to do it, that's why I have the backup.
Yeah. Well, and what did we do before churro existed?
I know everybody was trying to do squirts of cheese, right? Because they thought, well, dogs like it. What about cats? Well, cats are like, I don't know. I don't think so.
Right, that fake squeezy cheese and everything like that. So, or like, anyway, yeah. So anyway, well,
And now he's screwing me.
job, and you just,
Not trying at all.
he's right on the corner of the screen there. And so excellent job. And looking on her, does she have, John, can you clarify that YouTube question out there? Oh, do you have a health check video on your YouTube channel?
You know what? I should. I will. I have over 700 videos on that channel and growing. And when people take my class, they get the course book as a PDF, but I also give them a 1-page sheet that has some URLs to some of my safety videos. So I give that to all my students.
Yep. And I highly recommend taking your class. You do virtual and in person, is that right?
Yes, I do. In fact, if I could brag, I just came back from England and Greece, everybody, on a sponsored trip for 2 weeks where I taught people cat and dog behavior and pet first aid. And it was sponsored by Let's Be Smart. It's a nonprofit sanctuary. A shout out to Julie Kelly. And I got to go to Newcastle, England and Athens, Greece. And it was a trip of a lifetime. And we actually had a first aid incident. A cat at the sanctuary got scalded with hot water. And the cat, ironically, his name was Earl Grey. So tea time. Anyway, the people at the sanctuary, they were kind of freaking out. And I had just came back from a talk, and they go, Arden, oh my God, scalded with hot water. And I went in where he was, and I said, go get a wet towel, cool wet towel, and I put it in the carrier. I put Mr. Earl Grey in there. He had red, bright red on his nose, and 3 of his 4 paw pads were bright red. And they go, don't you want to put ice in there? I go, no. If you put something too cold on a hot body, you cause shock. So I'm in a little car in Greece in the back seat with Earl Grey heading to the ER clinic. And the driver, the manager said, oh, he must be okay because he's not making any noise. And I finally had to say to them, the burn is so bad, Nikki, that you have severed all the pain receptors and he cannot feel pain. And I'm monitoring because I may have to be doing CPR. So we got him to the clinic on time. We did the right thing, and he stayed for 3 days, and he's recovering, and he's doing well. It's just an example. You never know when a cat emergency can happen, but you get to freak out later. So that's what I did with Earl Grey.
We have two questions here as from the same person, so but I'm going to sort of merge them together. So, do you have any tips for handling feral or TNR or less socialized cats? This
Yeah.
person says that their group often gets called about injured community cats, and so you don't know what you're getting out there.
No, you don't. And, when we saw earlier, putting somehow, using towels and all that, it's a lot harder than your own family pet. And I don't have a lot of experience with feral cats. I feed a whole bunch of community cats in my neighborhood that are slowly getting to like me, but it's a little trickier. I apologize. That's not my lane.
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, it all depends on the situation of the cat. If the cat is unable to move, been hit by a car, something like that, you're going to have one response versus another cat that
Yeah.
maybe is just looking emaciated, but is up and walking around. And then you're going to want to treat it like any community cat and trap that cat. And just, I mean, the best way to bring a community cat into the vet is in a trap because then the vets can do a lot more to that cat in a less stressful way. And so, that's sort of the best way to say, you have to assess the situation and go from there on that. All right. So have you, and well, so this person, and you don't have to do the whole like long thing, but they're asking how to give CPR to cats. Like, what does that look like, right?
Well, in my classes, we go through it and everybody does it. But typically for a cat, you're going to do one-handed CPR. You ready, Case?
Poor Casey, he's not done.
This
He's
is the
just not
quick.
done.
You always approach belly to back. And I have a rhyme. The hand that does the pump is closest to the rump, so you can protect yourself here. You're going to put 4 fingers under their belly. You're going to point your thumb to you. This is the very quick and dirty. 10, 20, 30 compressions. Open the airway, pull the tongue, do a finger sweep, airtight seal, breath, check, breath, check. 10, 20, 30 compressions, open the airway, pull the tongue forward, do a finger sweep, form a seal, breath, check for a pulse on the femoral artery. We're using our hand by the head so we can keep from getting annihilated by the cat. That is the fastest CPR I've ever done.
Thank you. I think you can answer this question. Do you have a recommendation of a first aid kit that we should carry with us in our vehicles specific to cats?
The reason I like this one is it's from Alcott. As they asked me to help create this kit, I don't make money on every one they sell, just the ones I sell. But it is for cats, dogs, and people. It's waterproof. It's $40. It's on my site. And I like it, except for all of you that live in Canada and elsewhere. I can't ship it to you. It's too expensive. But, there's all different kinds. I keep one in my car. I keep one at home. And then when we change our clocks, because that's kind of a time we check our CO2 monitors and fire smoke detectors, check the contents of your first aid kit to make sure there's nothing that you need to replace that's been now expired.
One of our attendees is just saying, please remind folks to never pull anything that is hanging out of cat's rear end.
Exactly. Yeah. Because there's a lot of organs in there, and that's a job for the vets and the veterinary techs under proper hygienic measures and usually under surgery. You don't want to have something that's annihilating inside by pulling. Please don't. Just like if they impale themselves with a stick or something, leave it in route to the vet. Don't pull it out because it's going reverse and you're putting contaminants in, and it's like the cork's out of the wine bottle now. Everything's flowing out.
Okay, we've got another question here. So just to name a few of the items, like what are the typical items that you would need to have in a first aid kit for animals?
And in your handout, I think I have that given to everybody.
Great.
But,
Super.
you want different kinds of a gauze roll, gauze square. You want a cold compress. We've got diphenhydramine. We've got a septic pencil. We've got a syringe. You have to give medicine, triangle bandage. We've got a tick remover, scissors. In my classes, I actually teach people how to be mutt givers. So I teach you with things that you're wearing and around you that you can use to stabilize an injured dog or cat when you don't have a first aid kit handy.
All right. And then there was one other one. Oh, this is, I don't know what this is, so hopefully you do. What can you do to help a hippotermic cat?
Hippotermic, not hypothermic. Hippotermic.
Yeah,
I don't know what that.
yeah, hippotermic. Okay, yeah. So tell us what that all means, because I am not. You add spay and neuter are the words that come out of my mouth all the time. So if you want to add, give me more info. Give me more info.
What
Or
that is.
Kristen, chime in if you know what that is, because you're good with those words.
Yeah. Again,
And
pet first aid, we are there to stabilize and get the pet to the vet. Calling ahead. I mean, I can't make you a veterinarian in a
oh,
4 hour class.
hypothermic. Sorry,
Oh,
hypothermic.
yeah. When they're too cold. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
That's a
There.
word I know. Well,
Thank you.
one of the signs a cat is getting too cold is the color of their gums start turning blue. If they're getting too hot, they become red. If they have lack of oxygen, they can also turn blue. So for a cat that's getting too cold, you can hug them, but you don't want to rub them because underneath there could be some the frostbite could be developing, and you unintentionally rubbing them to get them warm can actually damage healthy skin around the frostbite, and you can cause more damage. So in our classes we hug, we don't rub, but you give them warm, not hot exposure, because again you don't want to do the opposite to cause them into shock.
Gotcha. Are you willing to share the name of the sanctuary that you were at in Greece?
Oh, please. Yeah, it was great. It's called Let's Be Smart. Let's Be. They're outside of Athens. They have a wonderful. They've been helping. They brought me to England to help the Bad Cat Cafe gals start their business. They're very cooperative and all. And they actually had me go to a refugee camp in Greece, kids from Syria, Afghanistan, and beyond. And I gave cat and dog talks to them and had two interpreters on stage, one speaking Farsi, one speaking Arabic. They could use all the help, either volunteers, donations. It is called letsbesmart.org. And it was the hardest trip I've ever been on and the best.
Well, I'm glad you're back home safe and sound and back with your team. You've got your support staff there.
Yep.
All right, we have here offer. So this person's asking for a little more detail. Seems like people are very interested in your classes, Arden. So
is I offer a public class once a month, but I do so many classes that are in staff, and groups of people write me and say, we've got like 6 people. Can you teach us a class on this date? So I do a lot of private classes, and I also do a 2-day class once a month, 16 hours for people to become certified to become instructors. We did this with Pro Pet Hero, and we've done it since 2018, and I have trained over 400 people to become pet first aid instructors. So we teach different levels. So if you go to Pet First Aid for You, or write me and say, hey, we got a group of people we'd love, I do my best to customize my classes for you. If you're in a boarding situation, pet sitting, you work in a shelter, but I need at least 6 people to make a class.
yep. And you are, if it is a group, or you offer cat only?
I can do a cat only first aid class. It's a 3-hour class. You will get certified for 2 years by our veterinary advisors. The cat and dog class is 4.5 hours.
Excellent. Got it.
So just specify what you're looking for. I already got I've got like 6 classes in the next 3 weeks coming up. So I'm very happy to see that people are interested, and I make the classes fun. I tell dad jokes,
Yeah.
You gotta have a little fun when you're learning.
Well, and I mean, now that we have challenges out there, we have a vet shortage problem, and we also have, the overwhelming population issues with our shelters.
Yep.
And I think that the work that you're doing is, yes, people take those classes when they work at shelters, et cetera, but I think it's also for the general public too,
Oh,
right?
awesome. Yeah.
And so the general public needs to be empowered to be able to help their animals to feel like they know how to handle an emergency situation, to get the cat to an emergency location without like I have to call the shelter, or I have to take my animal to the shelter, or I have to go, it, it's just trying to empower more people with those skills. And I feel like more people are interested in that, as you said, telehealth, and it's another component of this, let's be independent and some self-sufficiency too.
I totally agree. I've done a lot of things in the pet world. This is the one that I'm most passionate about. I have done CPR 4 times. I have saved 2. So I keep learning from my vet team. And I'm just telling you, Casey and Kona are my second team of safety assistants. I had a husky mix and a gray and white cat, Chipper and Zeke, and they've gone up to heaven. I can't believe I found 2 shelter alums that willing to let me, hey, we're going to teach a class again. And to have a cat and a dog, whether in Zoom or in person, that just adds more to the class.
Exactly. And so, my theme here at the Community Cats podcast is how to turn your passion for cats into action. And it sounds like you are doing your passion right now, Arden, right?
I love what I'm doing. And I'm so glad Earl Grey is doing better. I mean, that was a moment because his paws were bright red and that told me 3rd degree. That's why he wasn't acting animated. He couldn't. There was no pain receptor. They
Yeah.
all got fried.
Well, I want to thank you, Arden, for an incredible presentation. It's great.